7 things about South Florida that sound completely fake. If you live in South Florida, you probably think you know the area pretty well. You know the beaches, you know the traffic, you know that summer rain can come out of nowhere. But what if I told you South Florida is home to places where alligators and crocodiles can live in the same ecosystem? Wild monkeys roam free, and some of Miami is literally sitting on ancient coral reef. Today, we're counting down 7 things about South Florida that sound completely fake, but are actually true. And number 7 might make you look at Florida's backyard a little differently. Number 1, alligators and crocodiles can live in the same place. When most people think of crocodiles, they probably think of Africa, Australia, or some tropical destination halfway around the world. But South Florida has something pretty unusual. Both American alligators and American crocodiles. And yes, they can inhabit some of the same areas. The American crocodile is especially associated with the southern tip of Florida and the coastal areas around the Everglades. What's even crazier? Florida is one of the only places in the world where you can encounter both species naturally. So if you're exploring South Florida's waterways, you might want to think twice before assuming every reptile you see is just an alligator. Number 2, the Everglades is actually a river. Here's one that surprises almost everyone. The Everglades is often described as a swamp or wetlands, but technically it's a massive, incredibly slow-moving river. Water from Lake Okeechobee moves south through the Everglades toward Florida Bay, and it's moving so slowly that you can barely see it happening. The entire system is one of the most unique ecosystems on Earth, which is one reason the Everglades is so important to South Florida. So when someone says they're going to the swamp, you can technically correct them. You're standing in a river. Number 3, Miami has a prehistoric-looking fish. South Florida has some pretty strange wildlife, but this one looks like it belongs in a prehistoric movie. Meet the sawfish. It has a long, flat snout lined with teeth-like structures called teeth, or denticles, making it look almost like a living chainsaw. And yes, sawfish are found in South Florida waters. They can grow several feet long and are actually relatives of rays, not sharks. The really fascinating part, they've been around for millions of years. So while Miami is known for luxury condos, nightlife, and beaches, there are ancient-looking creatures swimming in the waters right next to it. Number 4, South Florida has wild monkeys. Here's a sentence you probably didn't expect to hear. There are wild monkeys in South Florida. Florida has populations of non-native monkeys that have established themselves in different areas. And while they aren't something you're likely to see walking down Ocean Drive, they have been documented living in parts of South Florida and other areas of the state. It's another example of how Florida's subtropical environment has allowed some very unexpected animals to thrive. Because apparently, alligators and crocodiles weren't enough. We needed monkeys too. Number 5. Parts of Miami are literally built on coral rock. Now let's bring this back to something that affects everyone who lives here: the ground underneath Miami. Much of South Florida sits on a foundation of limestone, and the Miami area is closely associated with ancient coral reef formations. That geology is a huge part of what makes South Florida different. It's also connected to one of the region's biggest environmental realities: water. South Florida's porous limestone geology allows water to move through the ground in ways that are very different from many other parts of the country. So when you're looking at a South Florida property, you're not just looking at what's above the ground. The geology underneath it matters too. Number 6, there are abandoned structures. Hidden around the Everglades, South Florida can feel incredibly modern. You've got Miami skyscrapers, luxury homes, massive developments, and some of the most recognizable cities in the country. But venture farther into the Everglades and surrounding wilderness, and you'll find something completely different. Remnants of old roads, structures, settlements, and abandoned places. Some are connected to old development attempts, while others are remnants of Florida's earlier history. And that's what makes exploring South Florida so fascinating. You can go from a luxury neighborhood to an environment that feels completely untouched. and sometimes discover traces of the people who tried to develop it decades ago. Number 7. You can find prehistoric fossils in Florida. And finally, Florida isn't just home to ancient-looking animals. You can actually find evidence of animals that lived here millions of years ago. Florida has produced fossils from prehistoric creatures, including giant sloths, mammoths, mastodons, and other extinct animals. Think about that for a second. The ground you're walking on in Florida could contain evidence from an ecosystem that existed long before Miami, Fort Lauderdale, or any of today's cities. So the next time you see someone digging around in their backyard, maybe they're not just doing landscaping, they could be digging through history. And that's the strange thing about South Florida. We often think of it as beaches, palm trees, luxury homes, and sunshine. But underneath all of that is an incredibly complex environment filled with ancient geology, prehistoric wildlife, hidden history, and some seriously strange creatures. If you're thinking about moving to South Florida, these aren't just fun facts. Understanding the environment, the neighborhoods, the waterways, and even the land underneath your future home can make a huge difference when you're buying property here. And if you want to experience South Florida and everything it has to offer, our team is here to help you find the right place to call home. Follow South Florida Home Finder Team. Call us at 954-947-7947. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at South Florida Home Finder Team. Because we don't just help you find a house, we help you find your place in South Florida.